Thank you for joining us once again. It's 3 minutes now, 4 minutes now into the 11 o'clock hour. This is Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, and it's time for Media Lab this morning, the Monday edition. Remember, Media Lab comes your way every Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday weekly. Today is the first for this week, and we have in the studio today Bode Badebo. I hope I got your name correctly. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
And you're welcome. So nice to have you. Bode Badebo is from the Leadership newspaper. And he will help us in the analysis of some of the headlines or the stories that are making headlines in our nation. Alongside him is in-house Inyene. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Ruth.
So nice to have you guys on the program this morning. Now, the first of the stories we'll be looking at is, let's begin with this one. We had mentioned this in our previous conversation on X-ray. However, let's get to hear your take on this. It says here, the Defense Minister, Mansour Ali, has given hopes that the 110 abducted students of Government Girls Science and Technical College, Dapchi, Yobe State, might be released by Boko Haram in the next 2 weeks. The minister claimed intelligence reports at his disposal indicated that the girls would soon be released, reinforcing President Muhammadu Buhari's earlier disclosure that the federal government would rather negotiate the release of both Dapchi and Chibok schoolgirls to ensure their safety. So, let's get to hear your reaction to this. Okay, let's listen to you, Bode.
Well, it's a good one that he gave a reassurance that the girls will be released. But I don't think the timeline is necessary. What happens if at the end of 2 weeks, they are not released? What will be the feelings of the parents, their loved ones, and so on and so forth? I think that, again, will make the public confidence to be waning. Okay. To be waning, yes. But it's a good one that has given a reassurance that the girls might be released by the insurgents. But the timeline, according to the intelligence report, is unnecessary. He should have kept that, close to his chest. It's unnecessary.
Okay.
I want to tag along with the body on that score as well, and even go beyond.
Okay.
Beyond in the sense that he's still quoting intelligence reports. For me, I think
at his disposal.
At his disposal, those intelligence reports were meant for his consumption. In his office as the Minister of Defense, that particular line of communication ought not to have gone into the public realm. So for me, I think it's dicey there, because sometimes releasing this kind of information to the public, which should have been, it was confidential to him, releasing it to the public at this particular point in time, I know it could have been in his bid to further assure the parents, but there are other ways to go about it without actually passing out this sensitive information, which could turn out to undermine the effort. Yes, I do understand. As it is now, there might be certain undercover operatives at work. There are certain agencies, both locally and internationally, at work. By the time you start pushing this information around into the public realm, it might get this criminal elements become jittery. And once it go jittery, you know what that means. They may decide to pull back of whatever line of communication is open between them and the authorities. For me, I think his coming out at this point in time is inimical to the entire effort. And then to worsen matters, he's equally giving a timeline, giving that time frame.
Well, aside the time frame, this is the part where I always say people need some information as well, especially those hurting, those very close to these children, their parents, their other relatives, well-meaning Nigerians. They are all concerned. I mean, they're not directly related to them, but we can all imagine the situation. Don't we kind of really need to hear something that will encourage us?
Well, he said something, but what we are saying now is that he actually reacted by divulging information which ordinarily should have not been in the public domain. By saying the guys will be released very soon, it's okay for the public consumption.
Okay.
But going as far as saying in the next 2 weeks, like he said, the insurgent might change their minds. And there is one thing that disturbs my mind about this government. When the president was in Yobe last week, he told the parents that, see, for abducting your children, the insurgents will regret their action. And I keep wondering, Which insurgent are we talking about? Is it the same insurgent you told us you will be negotiating with to get the girls back, and you are also threatening them in the public? And you know, this leaves much to be desired from the government. And it's also a kind of eye-opener for us to know that the public information management of this government is very, very poor.
All right, then. Okay, it is okay
Well,
with
well
that. No.
severally on very many platforms. With this government had been, the credibility of this government when it comes to information management has been questioned on so many platforms, and Bode is just adding vent to that as well. Now, it even occurred to me, I didn't even pick that Mr. President, as Commander in Chief, actually said these terrorists were going to regret their action. And then he was in Yobe again, talking about the best option being negotiation.
Now, yeah, let me also take you up on that. I mean, that word negotiation. I think, there's this phrase that goes, you don't negotiate with terrorists. What really are we saying when we're talking about negotiations here? Who seem to have an upper hand here? Now, for any terrorist group, they definitely are in need of something. For, the Nigerian government, of course, we need the girls back. And by we, I mean everybody, So in this kind of situation, you're talking about negotiating with, a terrorist group. What really does it entail?
Well, let me correct an impression that there is a phrase that you don't negotiate with terrorists. That is a policy of the American government. I don't think we have that same policy here in Nigeria. I don't think so. We have already, we have already showed our intention to negotiate with terrorists. So if we actually have the policy of non-negotiation with terrorists, we will not go as far as saying that. That's one. Then secondly, I want to believe the negotiation option is to get the girls back alive without any collateral damage. For America...
But you have to give them something.
Of course.
To release.
And I can tell you, negotiation again is an encouragement for the terrorists to come back. Pick more persons or girls.
And so you see why that phrase exists in the first place. So shouldn't we imbibe that?
I think America... that has that policy of non-negotiation with terrorists, I can tell you they have the military firepower, the intel, the necessary, the needed intelligence to go anywhere around the world to do whatever operation they want to do and succeed. But in Nigeria, I don't think we can actually beat our chest to that level. Maybe that's why we have to, back and also, play at times. We have to, hit them and also, like they say, the carrot and stick option. At times, we need to dangle the carrot to the terrorists, and at times, if the need arises, we need also to, wield the big stick. We don't have an option for now.
Okay, so I know you're not in the security sector, so to speak, but how do you see this playing out? Do you think that...
government is not decisive in this ongoing war against terrorism. Government is not decisive. There is also policy inconsistency. So with these two, we are going nowhere. If we need to rout these terrorists, we need to annihilate them, we need to totally defeat them, then we have to actually have our clear-cut approaches and also avoid our policy inconsistency. Whatever we're doing, we have to face this headlong and do it. Okay. You hear high-placed government officials, mouthing different things at different times. This does not help the war against terrorism.
All right, let's move on. Or does Inyene want to add anything on? Okay, so he's fine with that. Let's move on to the next story. The Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose has charged elder statesmen in the country not to keep quiet in the face of poor governance and leadership, or rather keep public officers on their toes by demanding good governance and accountability from them. He noted that history and posterity will not be kind to them if they fold their arms and watch situations deteriorate to dangerous level in the country. One of the major things Nigerians have been, been calling for is good governance and accountability from their leaders. From the past, the governor here is calling on elder statesmen. Sometimes we say, it is those that have ruled us before, especially when we begin to look at, in the past few years. And then when we also embrace democracy, we say, well, they are kind of like responsible for where we are now. What really should we go back to them and learn? Is there anything that they can, do and help those who are currently in power. Who really is even in power currently? Have they changed from those elder statesmen?
I know this is a tight one. I must
Yeah,
confess.
it's a lot of things
Because
going
when,
on.
when we talk about elder statesmen, those who are supposed to advise, to counsel us, lead us, having passed through certain experiences, prior to now, and maybe they learned certain lessons out of that. Now share this lesson with the current generation. But you find out that what do you call it? Is it greed at this point in time? There's something, when the elderly has seen so much and only decides for you, the younger one, to experience same before you learn the lesson out of it, rather than him coming out to caution you before you fall into the pit. You go into the pit, they tell, oh, the younger generation, you don't heed to our counsel, you don't come to us to seek for advice and things like that. So I think there's a lot of mistrust between these two. They've been through the system, and in some cases, they didn't actually leave the saddle peacefully on their own. Sometimes they were shoved out of, juicy positions, and so they sit back there and say,
Go
I'm
and
going to
test it
go and
yourself.
test it. You guys will crash and fail. But just as Fayose has said, the younger generation too, we have our own fault. We have our own blame too. You find out that in most instances where the younger ones are cautioned on, checking some of their excesses, they say, no, this is the new generation, the digital age. And so there's so much distrust
Do we
between
have
these
a
two.
younger generation in governance now? And by that, I know there's a handful, but if we're just to look generally and say we have a younger generation version of, leaders, can we really say that? Do we have more of those, or more of a circulation of those that have been there and done that and are still doing it?
To speak the truth, we do not have them.
Okay.
Ask me, because it's all about the word you use. They're circulating them, and the elders in the corridors of power. What they do, they look for those younger fodders they can use as cannon fodders to take care of their selfish interests, not because they're really out to groom these younger ones. So when the younger ones now move forward, they find out that they are just standing on nothing. We have instances, some of the, the youngest governor today, or the so-claimed youngest governor in Nigeria, in Kogi State. We can check out the way he's been performing, and you begin to wonder, aren't they elder statesmen within Kogi? Has he been paying heed to their word of advice? No, because power is at the grip, at the hem of affairs, and so he feels nobody could talk to him. Even Fayose that is making this comment himself, that is making this call, has he paid heed to so much of the counsel the elders have given to him in the past? Sometimes I think we're just paying lip service to it all. For me, the truth of the matter, whether elderly or young, let's try to do the right thing at the right time.
Just like we have the elder statesman, former President Obasanjo, coming out to correct the present administration. In that case, who's the younger generation? Who's the, I don't know.
Well, it depends on where you check the correction. Is it for good?
No, I was going to talk about the former President Obasanjo's example. But then there's this Yoruba proverb that says, you can't have elders in a market and you see a woman in that market backing a baby whose head is swung to one side. It's not possible. Because the moment that woman is walking about, the elders will call attention to the way the baby is being backed. Thank you very much. And that's the situation. The question should be, are our leaders are they tolerant of opposing views? They are not. Only few of them are tolerant. Majority are not tolerant. Like you just cited the Kogi example. The popular fight in Kogi today is between Senator Dino Melaye and Kogi Governor Yaya Bello Abi. Why? It's because of intolerance. The senator is saying pay salaries. Our people are dying of non-payment of salary. Good governance is lacking. And the next thing we saw, they want to recall him from the Senate. And that recall process, it's an open secret that it's being orchestrated by the governor. That is, so people naturally, if you want to keep your position, you may not want to advise somebody in higher authority because you don't know what the reaction might be. The Obasanjo you just mentioned, when that special press statement was issued, did you know what actually ensued? A lot of insults against the former president by so-called president's loyalists. In fact, it took President Buhari a kind of, I don't know, do I call it courage, to announce to his own member of kitchen cabinet, the close aide, to say, please, don't reply former President Obasanjo. I have listened to him, and I will take heed to his advice. Then 2 days later, the government took a position through Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, telling the president, former president, that, yeah, you are a patriot. We know you love this country. And we have, realized some of the things you say are true. But without even throwing they replied by throwing a jibe at the former president, saying, well, maybe because you travel too much all over the world, that didn't allow you to see the achievements of this government. There is no way somebody will tell you, adjust your clothes, adjust your load, without you fighting back, instead of you to take the heat and say, oh, this person must have loved me very well. Because whatever he's telling me is about my own image. Let me adjust. But what we have nowadays is whenever somebody is advising you, you want to hit back. So what the governor is calling for is very, very necessary. And like he just asked, is the governor also a good example of that? Our leaders are not tolerant. And tolerance is one of the beauties of democracy. Because in a democracy, you can't have everybody in one house. There must be opposing views.
But it's one thing to give criticisms, and it's also another to give constructive criticisms. Perhaps those who come out to criticize certain people in a position of power are not really honestly doing that, with the right intention and motive, so to speak. Could that be a reason why sometimes these other leaders feel, okay, let me be defensive?
Assuming former President Olusegun Obasanjo, who issued a special, we call it special press statement. I don't know if you have ever seen that before. What you have been saying is press statement. You have not seen a special press statement before. We can't see through his intentions. But you know what? When I read through his special statement, all what he said are correct. He talked about nepotism, and you look around. What is the nature of the president appointment? That's one. He talked about killings by herdsmen, that this government might be achieving some measure of success in fighting Boko Haram. But what about this new one, Menace, herdsmen killing? You are doing nothing about it. Is that not correct at that time? It was correct. And he talked about the third one was, see, Mr. President, you lack knowledge of political dynamism. You are not, your party is in power, and you are aloof to party politics, aloof to your party's activities. You can't run a government in a democracy like this. It was correct.
So will it make a difference if those criticizing constructively honestly say, well, this is why I'm saying this. For instance, during my time, I did this, because most times people would want to give, relate to what you have also done in the past and say, oh, but you did this. Now that you're not,
they don't need to tell you their intention. What matters is whether they are saying at that particular point in time is true or not.
And that's why some people will say, oh no, but you did it in your own time.
And that's the bane of our development. That has been our problem. You don't need to look back.
That's why I'm saying that perhaps if I'm coming out now to correct you, I should be able to, without any shame, say, I failed in this regard during my time. So I don't want you to make the same mistake. No, that was what Ian said, not to allow someone to go through what you've been through.
This government in particular came to power on the mantra of change, quote and unquote. Remember?
Yeah.
You are part of it. You remember?
We witnessed.
So even if Jonathan, the majority of Nigerians voted out in 2015, even if Jonathan will now rise up and say, see, Mr. President, you are making mistake in this anti-corruption fight, it is not in the best interest of this country for them to say, see, under your own government, there were a lot of corruption. No. The best thing to do is to look at what he's saying. Is it true or not? If it's true, take heed. If it's not true, hit back at him. You know why? Why you don't need to tell him whether he was corrupt under his government or not? Because you came, you saw the corruption under his government and say, see, we are coming on the mantra of change. Everything will be changed. But whether change or not, I think it's good for us to be tolerant to opposing view. It will be for our own interest.
All right, the conversation will continue after this break. Do stay with us. Media Lab continues.
Anywhere you go, wherever you are, we are your family. Human Rights Radio 101.1, redefining broadcasting.
Gidanka a bushe yake? Shagonka ko kantinka a yashe yake? Gashin kanka a tsaftace yake? Kana da hular kwalliya? Ko kuwa kana buƙatar jakankunan 'yan makaranta? Duk waɗannan tambayoyi amsar su kwaya ɗaya ce. Tak! Halibis Mall. Ingantattun kaya masu rahusa sai Halibis Mall. Muna nan a lamba 660 Cadastral Zone B1, Franca Afegua Crescent. Zone E, Apo Legislative Quarters, Bodu District a garin Abuja. Koreshenmu da ke lamba 1 Medical Center Road, Maraba, Abuja. Ko lamba 21 Sarki Mai Zabo Road, Daura da FMC Kepi a jihar Nasarawa. Za a iya tuntubar mu akan lambar waya. 081-59-51-00-00.
Halibis Mall. Mun shirya bin ƙaramar riba don neman albarka.
bandaɓe waynaɓe fulɓe ɗum nangi noto en noddago ministajo lamorde lesdi ndi mouhamadou moussa bello dow waynaɓe fulɓe nattitoade durduɗe ɓe nokkana to lamorde lesdi ndi nde abuja hakkude mabɓe remoɓe mi heɓa jonde jaam e ɗawta risque takanas to ɓe keeɓi ɓe joɗake ndebi gueere nattuki nde ladde wallira kadi gomnati heɓa waɗanaɓe ko handi annaɓe to jaamo mabɓe e nanta dabbaji mabɓe bandaɓe to en jaaɓu tawe en kaɓa hakkude meɗen e remoɓe nde fina allah fo leñol lesdi ndi en giɗi gaynako en giɗi demowo gen jonde jaam e jahargal yesso risque mayri bandaɓe waynaɓe jaaɓe jooɗo en to darduɗe ɗe e lamorde lesdi ndi abuja nokkani e gam jahargal yesso hakkude meɗen e remoɓe to komo fu jaɓa nangire aybe de handaki en fu meɗen en kawtu koɓe de rastinki resku lamorde lesdi ndi abuja ilal ɗon ngal ardungal lamorde lesdi ndi abuja lildani en.
Hukumar kula da babban birnin tarayya Abuja na jawo hankalin Fulani makiyaya cewa ya zama wajibi da su bi kiran ministan babban birnin tarayya Malam Muhammadu Musa Bello da su rungumi zama a wuraren da aka keɓe musu don kiwo a yankin domin rage wahalhalun da ke tattare da yadda suke yin sana'arsu a yankin. Zama a wuraren da aka keɓe don kiwo zai kawo musu sauƙi musamman ta fannin yawan tashi da barin matsuguni domin cirani kuma zai baiwa gwamnati daman samun su cikin sauƙi don taimaka musu da ababen da suke bukata kamar al'amuran da suka shafi likitocin da ke kula da dabbobi. Ilahirin al'umma na bukatar makiyaya da manoma domin samun wadatan kayan abinci. Makiyaya a kula da hanyoyin da aka kayyade domin ku a babban birnin tarayya a kauce ma shiga gonaki. Manoma kuma a bada rahoton duk wanda ya keta wannan dokan. Kar wani ko wasu al'umma su dauki doka a hannunsu. Mu haɗa hannu domin samar da wanzuwar zaman lafiya a tsakaninmu. Wannan sako ne daga hukumar kula da babban birnin tarayya Abuja wato FCTA.
Farmers plus header people. E good make we hear wetin the minister for FCT, Malam Muhammad Musa Bello talk o. Him tell all the people that where they carry cow waka up and down, make them for go settle for where government give them for grazing for inside FCT. This go help reduce them suffer head to waka up and down. E go dey easy for government to fit support them. Make we say no to kili bonu plus scatter. The society need headers plus farmers so make food for them for we obodo for all of us to chop. Make headers no enter people farmland. Farmers report anybody when no want hear word. Make it for hear way. Make anybody no put the law for them handle. Make we come together to build peace. Now Federal Capital Territory Administration they bring for this message.
Residents of the Federal Capital Territory are reminded of the need to be law-abiding, especially in areas of road use and illegal squatting. Please note that the Ministerial Joint Task Force is mandated to ensure that the existing ban on the use of unpainted vehicles as commercial taxis is enforced, and that of minibuses and coasters alike. To ensure that a complete ban on the use of motorcycles as means of transportation within the capital city centre is enforced. To ensure the restriction of tricycles, keke to estates and designated areas within and around the capital city centre. To ensure the eradication of the activities of commercial sex workers in the city. To ensure the eradication of other public nuisance such as drug trafficking, peddling and removal of all illegal shanties and squatters. To rid the city of illegal motor parks and bus stops within the capital city. Let us together build an FCT of our dreams. Those arrested will be prosecuted. Be law-abiding.
As a business owner, you may be asking yourself for reasons why you should advertise with Human Rights Radio. Well, I will give you 5. 1. We operate a 24-hour Facebook TV that accommodates all our shows and with 50,000 views per show. 2. All around the world, millions of people tune into our station live on our Human Rights Radio app. Available on Android and iOS. 3. We are employing over 2,000 conversers ready to attend to all your advertising needs. 4. With our very affordable rates, you are guaranteed the best value for your money. 5. We go beyond radio and can be found on all other social media platforms, including Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and Periscope, proving that while other stations enjoy listenership, we enjoy followership. The question shouldn't be reasons why you should advertise with Human Rights Radio. The real question is reasons why you haven't. Welcome to Nigeria's first magazine radio, Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting.
As the fourth estate of the realm, the media stands as the watchman of the nation. On Media Lab, we dissect the news items of the day through the men and women that bring the news to you to give you the full story. Media Lab, airing exclusively on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM, redefining broadcasting.
Human Rights Radio.
Welcome back on the program. It's 11:30. It's still Media Lab right here on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. I've been speaking with Bode from Leadership Newspaper alongside Inyene, in-house analyst. Sometimes I don't know what to call him, but he's an all-rounder. I somehow prefer to see as an analyst. All right, so we have taken a look at some of the headlines. Here is the next one, though. The Department of State Security, DSS, said within the last 10 days in the month of March 2018, it has apprehended key members of kidnapping, gun running, and banditry syndicates operating across the states of Plateau, Nasarawa, Taraba, and Benue. The DSS spokesman, Tony Opuyo, explained that notorious gun runner Jonah Abe, who has been on the wanted list of the service for the past 10 years over arms and ammunition trade, was arrested alongside his driver, Igio Savior. He added that Abe has been servicing criminal groups in Bayelsa, Ebonyi, Rivers, Imo, Anambra, Plateau, Nasarawa, Benue, and also Taraba states. So this was and still is a piece of interesting news. Nigerians have been clamoring for strategic arrests, so to speak, arrests that would lead to finding the source of sponsors of especially this herders, farmers crisis. And so far, these arrests have been made by the DSS. What do you make of this development?
I think that was a good one by the DSS. The arrest is a good one because it will actually reduce the spate of killings in the country. I can tell you one of the reasons we have internal security challenge today is because we have arm proliferation in this country. You have unlicensed arms moving around and in the wrong hands, non-state actors. And with DSS arresting some major, arms operators, I think it will actually bring down the spate of killings. And I think it is also incumbent of them to also launch investigation into a recent allegation that the Kogi State governor imported, military camouflage and arms into the country. I think to also empower or arm some local vigilante group for the state security. I don't know how true is it, but we actually need to get to the roots of this matter because oftentimes we had story about the custom impounding arms at the seaport, but we don't get to know the importers. We don't get to know the financiers. So if the DSS can be on top of their game in respect to these arms proliferation, I can tell you the challenge of internal security as we have today will have been reduced to a barest minimum if actually they can be on top of their game.
For these arrests coming this time, do you or do you not think perhaps it's a bit, I don't know.
Belated?
Yes.
No.
It's still, they're working like on point.
Yes. I can also tell you this herdsmen killing we're talking about, the killer herdsmen, if they don't have arms with them, they can't kill anybody with bows and arrows. That era is gone. The one now we are using is gone. So somebody is supplying them. If you can get to the root source of how arms get into this country, and we can block that play, then the marauders cannot get arms again. I think they can go back to farm.
But that usually is the problem. Do you see this situation as getting to that point where we can really find and hold somebody or a group of people responsible for why there is, for instance, proliferation of arms?
Yeah, sure. I said it earlier.
Okay.
If the DSS, these are the secret police, if they can be on top of their game, we can get to the root cause. Because that is what they are actually paid for. They are not like the regular police. You see them every day on the street with their uniform. You identify them as police. But the DSS, you don't know who are they. They are secret police. They work underground for intelligence gathering. So if they can be on top of their game, we can get to the root cause of how arms are being shipped into this country and getting into the wrong hands.
All right. Yeah.
I think, first of all, while commending the effort of the DSS so far, I want to harp on the issue of interagency rivalry. And I do know that over the years, most of the security organizations have been having problems with or amongst themselves, considering the fact that sometimes out of selfish interest, they just want to work at the interest of the man at the helm of affairs, not for the interest of Nigerians. Because if they realize the fact that they are earning taxpayers' money, you know, whatever allowances or wages gets to them, it's a contribution of every citizen of this country. And so their allegiance, first of all, is to Nigeria, not Mr. President, not Mr. VP, not Mr. Commissioner, not Mr. Governor. When they come to realization of that fact, then they will be able to focus their energies and resources towards ensuring that actions and steps they embark upon is for the interest of Nigerians. I think over the years this has been lacking. But they said something about covert operation, you know, secret police. You know, they don't need to advertise themselves. But on the contrary, today, from 1 kilometer off, you could figure out who is a secret, you know, an undercover operative. They made themselves become so ordinary that Nigerians could rub shoulders with them. It's only when their principals are around, maybe the president is around, the governor is in a particular forum, you see them acting up tough, but out there, Nigerians don't really reckon with them, because the manner of their operations has been abused, as far as I'm speaking from the layman's perspective. Now, if they've managed to pick up this gun runner and several other big-time criminals who are, how do I put it, supplying arms to most of the killers we have in the country today, good, this is a beautiful development. My colleague here just said something about several arms cache that were discovered at the Tin Can port. In Kano, I think some Lebanese were picked up, you know, they had a huge cache of arms. Today, as we speak, we've not heard anything more about them as we speak. We don't know the extent to which the state has prosecuted them. Possibly at the end of the day, you just hear that these gentlemen have been quietly, you know, is it sent out of the country or stuff like that. So, in essence, when we talk about the secret or undercover security agencies working, if they focus on their area of operations, I think they'll come up with results. And shun all this inter-agency rivalry. The DSS wants to show that it's the one working best, the police wants to impress, and things like that. Rather, they should think of how to pull their resources together, especially the intelligence aspect of their job, so that they could exchange intelligence at the appropriate time. And then those who are supposed to be the action forces could now swing in and perform very well. Arresting this man and making a huge noise about it, for me, I'm not impressed. We've heard all of this before. Show me by example. Keep quiet. Let's see how you prosecute this man to its logical conclusion and send him to where he rightly belongs. And in the process as well, you should be able to dig further information, relevant information from him on how to trace other sponsors who are still parading about the streets, you know, living large in this country today.
Maybe they have reasons to celebrate. I mean, he's been on the wanted list for over a decade.
And you begin to wonder, well, how has he been evading these security organizations? Now, let me tell you something. From my own little knowledge of the workings of security, if the DSS has been on his heels for 10 years, there's every likelihood that there's been some complicity on the part of other security organizations aiding and supporting him to stay undercover from DSS arrest. If you dig deep into that, you may discover, because sometimes some of these organizations compromise because they want to spite the other organization from making a success.
Just like this
Forgetting
has come
the
out now,
fact
it's all
that
about the DSS.
yes,
we're not hearing
that
about any other security agents. So
nobody tells you. The DSS is claiming all the credit now.
So now we don't know if it was a combined effort.
There you go.
And
so the other security organization, all right, okay, we'll wait and
we'll
see.
show you
And it continues going like that while all of these criminals continue thriving. Go after these criminals, pick them up, unearth relevant information that could lead us to their sponsors, whether within or outside the country. And with such arrangement, with that kind of process, we'll be able to tackle, reduce to the barest minimum some of the insecurity challenges we're having in the country.
All right, let's quickly see if we can pick some calls. If you've been following the conversation, it's Media Lab on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. It's about time you weigh in on the situation. Let's know what your reaction is, and let's see if you may have some interesting suggestions, especially in certain areas of governance. The number to call is 081 89991011. That's 081 89991011. Hello?
Hello?
Good morning.
Hello? Morning.
Welcome. What's your name?
Yeah, my name is Omar, calling from Cuba.
Okay, Omar.
Thank you very much. I want to talk about the issue of Kogi State Governor imported ammunition from another country to Nigeria. See, I don't want to hear anything like that. It's not allowed for a governor to go and import ammunition.
Well, for now, it's not proven. Yeah, it's an allegation, so it's not proven yet.
How do we know, say, it's an allegation? So we want the Kogi State governor to come out, clarify everything to us. We are not a kid again. Many things have been happening in Kogi State, and nobody get mind to walk out and to come out and talk through in the Kogi State. This is not how the Kogi State is rolling before. For the past 3 years now, people have been dying in Kogi State. What we are not supposed to expect in Kogi State will be happen. No salary payment, nothing is going on there. And they are telling us, say, the Kogi State, and they are importing something from another country to Kogi. Is it a welcome development for, is it a welcome something or waiting? Something good in Kogi State they're supposed to, they don't do. Is there ammunition we need in Kogi State army uniform? That can't is there a way for them to do import all those things? Please, we don't want to hear that kind of nonsense thing again. Enough is enough.
All right, it's okay. Thank you. Try and calm down, Umar. But thank you for coming through. Okay. 08189991011. Just calm down. Whatever you hear, try and see how you can assimilate and understand and make your, precise contribution in that regard. Hello? Okay, I think we lost that connection. Call back is Media Lab on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM 08189991011. Hello?
Good morning, Ruth.
Good morning to you. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Your voice is very low.
I'm David from Central Area.
Okay, David, welcome.
Okay. Good morning to the Indian and your guest in the studio.
Good morning.
What my take this morning is on the security aspect of it. I think this issue of Fulani herdsmen, I think they are over flogging because all this killing going on around all these things. I don't think that made Fulani herdsmen. There are people sponsoring, hiring people to come and commit all this crime. And I keep saying that the security personnel should wake up to their responsibility. They should at least build up their teams so they can get all these things. And we need to join our hands with the traditional rulers, the community leaders, to start fighting this thing. And I think it's very wrong for us to be hearing some of these allegations coming up. Because as of last weekend, I was in Kogi State. I'm not a politician. I'm not here to hold grounds for anybody. But some of these things, when we hear them, and we come out and begin to pay them. Because, like, if you go to Kogi State and ask, some of the people will tell you that they are well paid, and some people will tell you that the governor is not doing this, some will tell you that the governor is that. So all of these things, I don't think they are good for us as a people. Thank you. God will bless Nigeria.
All right, David. Thank you for your contribution as well. 081-8999-1011. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning, man.
Good morning to you.
I'm speaking from Sluja.
Okay, what's your name?
Please, concerning this harassment and killing all over the...
Yeah, what's your name, please?
Please?
What is your name? Can you hear me?
Okay, Dogo.
All right, Dogo.
Yeah.
You can go ahead.
What we are saying concerning these killings of headsmen killing people. In fact, if the present administration is just interested in making Nigeria to become a Fulani country, then it's better. Then rather, if we go to this area, Fulani are killing all over the federation, then we don't know whether is it Fulani now that are ruling.
Okay, I don't...
Or Nigerians.
I don't understand
Hello?
exactly what you're trying to say.
What I'm now trying to say is that this killing of Fulani killing here, Hetman killing here,
Well,
here and there.
yes.
Yes, we don't know. Is it the Hetman now that are ruling Nigeria or...
Hello. Excuse
or
me, Dogo.
Nigerians are ruling Nigeria?
Hello, Dogo. Can you
Hello,
hear?
can you hear?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here. I'm
Good, good. I don't think you have any evidence whatsoever. You don't have any proof as you speak that all of the killings that have been going on in this country or different section of this country is carried out by so-called Fulani headsmen. I do not think so. And we beg to differ from your position that this country is being ruled or is going to be turned into a Fulani country. Please. On this particular platform, we look for solutions. We have too many problems already facing us in this country. So you have a challenge there. What you talk is we have killings. There are killers in different tribes, in different sections of this country. So when we keep harping on one particular group, I think we are not helping the matter. Dogo, as it were, I'm sure you are disturbed by the spate of killings in Nigeria. So we should be thinking of how to nip this in the bud, how to solve the problem, not pointing accusing fingers or calling people's names. And on this platform, as a matter of fact, we do not take sides. Human Rights Radio is not here for any tribe. It's for Nigeria, for the stability, peace, and progress of this country. Thank you, Dogo.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sure that says it all. I think over time, so many people have gotten used to the idea, of the labeling on the herdsmen as well. But then I'm sure Inyene has cleared the edge to some extent on that. Well, let's see how many more calls we can pick before we call it a wrap. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome. What's your name?
My name is Abubakar. I'm calling from Abuja here.
Okay, Abubakar, please go ahead.
In looking at the issues around the killings happening in Nigeria, first of all, as a Nigerian, I want to sympathize with people who have lost either lives or properties as a result of all these killings that have bedeviled this country, which all of us are trying round the clock to ensure that we find a solution for, because it is not a problem for one side of the country. I think it is an issue that all of us as a nation need to round together, either through our minds, that is through prayers, or through joint effort in terms of passing information wherever available that is credible to the people whose responsibility it is to deal with these issues. Beyond saying that, as a solution, I also want to see a situation whereby the agency responsible, in collaboration with different community leaders, also come up with emphasis more on raising the tolerant level of Nigerians with one another. We need to be tolerant both in terms of how we live, We need to be tolerant with ourselves, both in terms of how we speak or we talk about issues in this country. I think it will go a long way in trying to douse the tension around. And again, I want to really also emphasize on issues around the concept of using a particular tribe to identify with a particular kind of situation. I think there's a need to remove that word Fulani. I think when you have a situation, it is best to identify the elements involved rather than use a particular tribe to describe a situation. That in itself is a major disaster. And the government needs to do a lot to try to disabuse the minds of people who are already associating a tribe with a particular criminal act in Nigeria. So this is my little contribution now. Thank you very much.
We appreciate it very well. Thank you, Abubakar, for that contribution. I think we have room for one final call on this before we get back to you in the studio. Let's see who's here. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome. What's your name?
Yes, I am Elder DC. I'm calling from Abuja here.
Okay, please go ahead.
The solution, let us go straight to the solution. See the Fulani herdsmen, you radio people normally announce suspect Fulani herdsmen. Why are we not calling it spade a spade?
That's because have you seen those who were arrested?
Arrest him and disarm him. If you disarm them, they will not get a weapon. I'm a military soldier. All the while that been killing is Fulani herdsmen we have been hearing. They go with cow. Are Igbo going with cow? Are Hausa going with cow? We know them. They are the community. They are in our community.
Okay.
The other day they remove somebody's yam. I give it to the cow.
All right. I think it's okay. We'll have to end your call now. Let's just see how, if possibly, we can address this. Inyane took the time to actually, talk about this, and I really just felt that anybody listening would have, because over time, yes, I know it was a lot in the media. You just hear Fulani herdsmen. Understandably so. I mean, we know. Basically, in this part of the world, you find that's more like, what they're known for. But so far, that, this whole thing has been going on. We talk about trying to arrest these people, and I don't know how many arrests have been made, and are they really, really, looking at their ethnic background, are they all Fulani people? And as we always say, there are many people committing a lot of crimes. Do we usually just say, oh, this Amroba is a Gwari Amroba, is a this kind of Amroba? I mean, so that's like we are trying to, move away from that. And I don't know, what do you have to say on that?
Well, I think the government is responsible in the sense that government has always failed to justify the public confidence reposed in it. For example, when you hear people stereotyping, calling Fulani herdsmen, calling this, calling that, and you are asking them, no, don't stereotype, don't call it tribe, and they keep saying, no, it's a tribe, a particular tribe. It is because nobody maybe has been arrested and prosecuted to the satisfaction of the victims. That's one. Secondly, the other time, last week there was an attack in the village in Plateau State, and I listened to the police PRO in Plateau Command saying, well, we are incapacitated because most of these killings or attacks are happening in the hinterland where there are no communication facilities, and the attackers will just come in a snap, attack and leave. And the rapid response cannot take place because no communication. The people cannot communicate with the city. And I say, okay, is it how we're going to continue? And this kind of victims, you can't tell them to keep quiet. You can't tell them to stop calling a name, because they will always tell you, no, before the attack, we hear them speaking a particular language. So long the government will fail in its responsibility of ensuring security of lives, then you always have issues like this, emotions flying, people calling names, people stereotyping. So I want to blame it. I want to place this blame on the doorstep of the government. The government is failing in its responsibility of ensuring security of life and property, and the justice sector too. Because if anything, if crime has been committed, you fail to arrest the suspect, the criminal. And even in a situation where you arrest a criminal, is not being prosecuted. And in a case where it's being prosecuted, justice is not seen to be done. Then, in a society like that, you can have this kind of grumblings going on every day. And it also affects human rights.
Okay.
As it is now, basically that's what we, the media community, is doing. Because Bode has just pointed it out or apportioned the blame appropriately at the doorstep of the government, which should lead by that example. But for the government having failed us, whether consciously or unconsciously, I think it now behoves us, and beginning from the bottom, let's start from the very bottom. We go to the communities, we have community leaders, we have influential members of the communities, we have religious leaders, we have professionals in our midst, and then it climbs up to what we're doing at the media level, which we keep harping on day in, day out. The reality is there. A lot of people are suffering injustice, left, right, and center. And in the process, having nowhere to turn to, they just create an imaginary enemy and stick to it no matter what you tell them, until the trend is reversed. Just as we say, you find out that the laws of the land are there. We have so many laws in this country, but when it comes to implementation, we are lacking. It's not about lack of laws, but the willpower, the political will to ensure that justice is done and seen to be done. And once this happens, with the combination of education and sensitization on our parts, like what we're doing at this very instance, I'm sure Nigerian psyche will start working, getting transformed, renewed and refined. And most of this ethnic referencing, labeling, generalizations would abet.
All right, that's about the time we have for Media Lab today, and I do hope we have been able to pass a message and for a better understanding for all of us in the country as we move ahead for success and better things happening for us in our nation. I've been speaking with Bode Gbadebo. Okay, am I just supposed to? All right, Bode Gbadebo is from Leadership Newspaper. Thank you for being here on Media Lab.
It's my pleasure.
And thanks to my colleague, Inyene. He says he's a
Thanks
colleague.
for having me.
All right, my name is Ruth. Do stay with us on Human Rights Radio 101.1 FM. The news will be up at 12 noon. My name is Ruth. Do enjoy your day.